Hello and welcome to Chasing the Dream, a podcast where I talk to people who have a dream, a career dream, and are chasing it down, and someone who I think should have a light shown on them and help them promote what they're doing and what they're trying to do. And maybe if someone out there is listening, they will call my guest today and hire her to do some fashion styling for them. This woman I met several years ago working on Return to Amish Season 3. We encountered her and she saved me that day. So for that, I've been forever grateful. So my guest today is Rosy Muto. Welcome, Rosy. Great to see you again.
Likewise. From the last we saw each other, now I'm in a different city, different ambiance.
Yeah, so let's catch up. You are a human dynamo, as I remember, who does a little bit of everything. You impress me so much. You're someone who's a go-getter. You've got so much drive, smart. You do so many things. I mean, gosh, let's list your accolades. I know you've been an actress. You've modeled, right? You're an entrepreneur. You've owned businesses and restaurants. You have your own fashion styling company.
Correct.
Right?
Although like it now.
Yeah, but you have a much cooler sweatshirt than I could pull off. So you're just repping your heritage, and we're all about it. We're all about it. So talk to me. Nobody wants to hear about me because I'm not interesting at all. So let's talk about you. Tell anyone who might be listening. Tell my mom. She's going to be the one listening to this. So we're going to be talking to my mom. Anybody else listening, you're welcome. And my mom's a huge fan of Return to Amish, so she definitely knows you from your guest appearance. We'll get to that later. So what are you up to these days, Rosy?
So things kind of went a little haywire in the production fields due to COVID. I'm sure a lot of businesses had to sacrifice, and so I sort of kind of went on in a hibernation phase and tried to do things to reinvent myself. So I actually started getting into classes online and working with my web developer, my webmaster, and started doing UI and UX design, which is, for those that don't know, coding and creating websites. So I took the stylistic approach that I do for a person physically into a digital version of styling someone's, let's say, storefront online. So I kind of do so there's the user interface and the user experience. So I work with my webmaster and we're kind of the yin and the yang now. So I started doing that for a little while. I got certificates and stuff like that, and also in marketing and advertising on the digital side, being that my career started in retail as a visual merchandiser manager. So I was kind of already doing design work on storefront windows. And so then I just took that into a digital phase during COVID. And it's great. I love it. We do a lot of e-commerce websites for a lot of the retailers that are selling, things online. And I've worked with a lot of restaurants. I did own a restaurant once in Del Rey called La Padella. In the first year that I was open, we made it a 4-star review restaurant. We were known as the hidden gem of Del Rey. And I know I sold it literally the month before COVID. And
Good timing.
Was trying to necessarily sell it. It was just kind of an idea. And then we were approached, and then I was like, hey, Mom. And then she's like, what do you think? And during the time I was booked on BET. I don't know if you know about the BET experience. So they brought me in as a creative director to do their whole runway show for the fashion exhibit. And that was major labor. And I was torn between keeping a restaurant or taking this huge opportunity with Viacom. And I took the opportunity in fashion because that's always my passion, because I grew up in the restaurant industry, where I was potty trained in the pizzeria. So
Interesting way of describing it.
because it's my blood, okay? That's where I come
Right.
from. My heritage. My parents were migrants from Italy. When they came to the United States, they opened up restaurants, this and that. And from there, they're successful with 3 restaurants going on 42 years for one of them. We just had a 30-year
Amazing.
anniversary for Silvio's Villa. So they're doing fantastic. So it was always
Yeah,
something
you can
that was,
drop all sorts of definitely broadcast which restaurants there are so people will go and check them out.
yeah. So, Silvio's Villa. And when I was in that phase of selling the restaurant, I, flew out to California to do this job for BET, which was a huge success. And ended up getting one of the most, they have the celebrity basketball game. Have you ever heard of the celebrity
Oh,
basketball?
yeah. For the All-Star game.
Right. So when they added on to the Fan Fest to the fashion beauty assemble, what ended up happening is that ended up taking more impressions and had a bigger, I guess, impact than the celebrity basketball game. So hopefully
okay.
come back because of COVID. Obviously, you can't have millions of people together in one room, but that was probably one of the biggest events outside of Giorgio Armani in Milan. We can talk about that.
Yeah, we can talk about that. I mean, we want to promote you. We want to get people to know who you are and why you can help them and like what your dreams are now. I mean, you're doing the web stuff, which, I'm sure they're probably very sleek websites knowing your styling the way I do. So I'm sure they look sharp. I'm embarrassed for you to look at my website because it's, hacky, done with templates.
Need help. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
I definitely do.
don't worry. Other thing about templates, just even for your side note, you can always, depending on certain code, you can customize templates too. People say no. There's just, and my PHP
You just need to know.
He's amazing. So, and I've worked with him for now 8 years. So I've always knew the, let's say, logic behind coding, and then like the language itself. It was something I killed it on my MySpace page back in the day, for those that know.
MySpace, oh my God.
Yeah. So
anybody remember that?
I mean, because my page was fabulous. And actually, true story, I did a MySpace tour before I moved to California. So here's some history, how it all kind of flourished and how I started kind of developing this dream then, which is now is like a different vision. But then after high school, I always knew I wanted to like stray away from my little hometown, West Milford. And I moved down south to Cherry Hill and lived in Cherry Hill, New Jersey for 2 years. I was working at Forever 21, quickly got promoted as a visual merchandiser manager. And then from there, they had me do not only the wardrobe, but then I was also in charge of all the accessories.
So what is it? I'm a layman. I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm a layman. I imagine a visual merchandiser manager is a person who sets up the displays, the windows, the store itself, so the way it looks. Is that right?
Yeah.
Am I guessing right?
You are 1,000%. But actually, what's funny about how I got that job is they look at experience, right? So when I went in to drop a resume, like I said, I just moved to Cherry Hill. I didn't have a job yet. It was just kind of like all my experience was the restaurant. And when I went into a store like Forever 21, I thought maybe it's just an easier store since it's, not a luxurious Gucci, or I'm, kind of downplayed myself to just try to get in somewhere first.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got into Forever 21, what was funny about it is there was a lady that was the corporate office, like making a visit to that particular store that week. And when I handed her my resume, she looked at it. She's like, pizzeria, pizzeria, Italian restaurant. And she goes, what qualifies you as a visual? And I said, it's something I'm determined to do. And I know that I will prove you that I'm capable. So she said, okay, I have a 20-minute call. You take 20 mannequins, get them dressed, and then give me a display when I come back up. I literally got all the sales associates on the team on my side. You know me, I'm a team player.
Oh, so I do. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah. So I was like, you, Sharon, give me this, give me that. Da, 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 da. I put it all together. By the time Maribel came back, I was saying, this is Jessica. She's going to Miami. Here's her POT. This is what her value is at. This is Monica. She's going to, so I literally got the job.
You had backstories. You had backstories like that fast, like that?
Oh, yeah. It was just like, she's going to Monaco. She's going overseas. She's going to British Columbia. She's going on a hike. She's going to the beach. This one's the ready to wear. Like,
and you were how old?
19.
How old were you? 19? Okay. So, all right. So listen, I'm cutting you off just because just listening to you tell a story is exactly like the kind of energy that I encountered when I first met you in LA back in the day. So like, where does the confidence, because you are confident, where does that come from? Like, where do you think that comes from? You are a super confident person, which is why I don't think anyone can stop you once you set your mind to something. So where does that come from?
My older self nowadays will say, after I see my parents and my mother, you meet my mother, she's a Scorpio fireball. So, and an Italian mother. So, I have to give credit to her. But my younger self, because at the time, you're like, oh, your parents, they just want to instill fear in you and things like that. I grew up with 3 brothers. I grew up very, outdoorsy. My oldest brother, he is super into, being outdoorsy, and my sister's not going to be a baby, so it's like, she's going to drink 10 beers, like she's going to be.
And she's only 7, but she can do it.
You know what I mean? It's going to be tough, so confidence came from, I was very much into, at an early stage before it became a thing, into the motivational speaking engagements and listening to those kind of things. And so at the time, our younger selves that didn't know how to use the internet, I kind of figured out how to use it. Like back in the day when there was AOL Messenger and like things like that, I knew how to hop on the internet and, Google certain things about, motivational stuff. And I just didn't want to live in fear. So the one thing that I learned from my mom was like, she was always afraid of everything when I was little. Like, don't go on the lake when it's ice. And not because it's going to break or going to fall through. She would put in our heads that if we fell and someone with the blade came over our fingers would get cut off.
Oh, gosh.
So it's like what ridiculous Italian mom scenarios that, I was like, no. But she also didn't realize that telling us these kind of stories and things, I was always the one that was like, is it true? How would I know and try for myself? And we traveled a lot. So my mom had us on airplanes going back and forth to Italy all my life. So like, I think at such a young age, traveling, I always wanted to be responsible. I always pretended that I was by myself with my passport when I was like 8, to be cool. And go through, do it myself with the ticketing and, So I think the courage came from a lot of fear that was trying to be instilled. And now my older self that reflects back and looks at my mother, how strong and confident she is, I think I got a lot of that. And both my parents, they left Italy when they were 17, 18, just them two, to come to the, America and create this new life for themselves, being that the economy is hard to work. So just like anybody else. And they made it.
That takes a lot of strength to do that. Yeah.
I'm sure,
coming to a new place. They don't know the language. It's all, yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of that was instilled.
Yeah, you picked that up. Yeah, I remember meeting your dad. He had me nervous because he's a character, but a great guy, but just definitely an imposing. He gives off that
very
energy.
Much. Still does.
But all positive. Oh, still does? Still doing good?
Still doing good, yeah. After cancer, I mean, my dad is a champ.
Yeah, wow. And he's in good health these days?
Oh, he's still making pizzas.
All right. hey, if it makes you happy, you got to do it. I mean, that's what I'm still trying to do it. People are trying to kick me out of this business these days, it seems, but I'm not willing to, I don't have anything else that I'm good at. I don't think. I'm sure I could figure it out, but I mean, interviewing people and making content, whether it be for broadcast or who knows, some sort of streaming platform, I got a lot to go. I still got a ways to go in my future. So I get it. I'm going to keep working until I drop at my edit console or something. I think that's the way I'm going out. I don't know what else to do.
I think what's fantastic. I mean, talking about confidence. Well, first of all, I'm on here with no makeup in a hoodie.
And yeah, but you can pull it off.
Please, you don't have to glope it on. It's okay to be natural, and especially that I'm in the fashion industry, I probably should be the first to be all dolled up and ready to go, but I'm clearly not because it's okay. But speaking
I hope that means because you're comfortable with me, and that's why you're on here, because you're comfortable.
With you.
I told you this is going to be a chill, relaxed thing, and you know how I mean, I don't know if you remember how my working style is, but when we work together.
That's what I wanted to bring up. So I'm the behind the scenes. So whether it's in production, whether it's for anything that I do, which the laundry list, I'm most likely behind the scenes. When you guys had come to that show, Cynthia Rowley, for me, I didn't know about a TV show. I was there to produce and direct the Cynthia Rowley show. So
hold on, let's set the scene for anybody who might be listening who doesn't know what we're talking about. So I was the co-executive producer of Return to Amish for 5 seasons. In season 3, thank you. My mom is very happy about that. I was also the showrunner of the very first season of Breaking Amish when the original cast was in New York. So that's where I got started, and then they brought me back. So season 3, I had been brought back in season 2 because the show was kind of gone off the rails. So season 3, we were getting back to what we do. And Kate, our cast member Kate, was in fashion school. She was legitimately in fashion school. And she did get on. Cynthia Rowley actually called the production company and volunteered a spot for her to get some credits for school. So it was legit, but she got it because of the show, and Cynthia Rowley knew she was going to get some advertising for 11 episodes or 10 episodes, whatever it was. So Kate was sent to LA to oversee a fashion show and help get set up. But when we had gotten there, this is real. This is the part of the reality show that's real. Everybody doesn't believe it. We got there, and Kate was supposed to set up Cynthia Rowley's stuff, but it didn't arrive, and it wasn't going to arrive till the following day. So we were scheduled for a shoot. We didn't know what we were supposed to do. We had to scramble on the fly and make something up. So luckily, this dynamo of a woman comes walking down. I think I have a photo of you that day talking to the group when you were sort of set up. I'll put it up where you're just holding court and telling everybody what's going to be expected from the team. And then you were gracious enough to work with us and incorporate Kate into what you needed to do. But this is right where reality crossed into our television show. and we threw you into the mix. You were super awesome to help us. And now you can tell us about
My
what you
experience.
were talking about. Yeah. So we put a microphone on you. We told you we needed you help Kate. We gave you a quick backstory about what was going on with her working with Cynthia Rowley, and you pick it up from there, what you remember.
Meanwhile, I am working with CEO, I'm working with sponsors like Sony, I'm working with 75 volunteers overseeing wardrobe malfunctions, models showing up late, just things that I have to deal with on the fly. Nobody told me that there was going to be a production television coming in to film. And remember, for us back at house, I have to really mandate the back of house because you got models getting changed. I can't have them photographed or having any video footage of them, because then it's
and we can't do that either, because that's a no-no. Yeah.
But not even that. It's sometimes on accident, you're just walking the premise of the back of the house. You just so happen to walk through that area where there's somebody that's just like, whoop, and then it's chaotic. So trying to make sure that I have doors shut, people out, who is who, where are they? Like, then I get approached, we're going to throw a mic on you. And I'm like, well, I'm not a big censor type, right? So I'm not necessarily super conscious of me censoring my whatever I have to say.
That's why we put in bleeps. That's what bleeps are for.
Well, when you're under that kind of stress and that much, and everything has to be on time, you got a crowd of people coming into the show. They expect a start time and whatnot. So when I heard that Kate went to fashion school, I was like, okay, I told my assistant, who's was my right hand, I said, well, at least she went to fashion school. So you just overhear and oversee what she does. So if I'm giving her a direction or if I'm telling her something to do, just make sure that if she's not doing it or if there's any slip ups, I don't have time to just make sure it gets done. So long story short, I was just very surprised on what are they teaching at fashion schools? Sometimes I'm just like, well, how do you throw
I believe Kate had she was in first year. So her being on an internship with Cynthia Rowley, that wouldn't really happen until she was a junior or senior. So, but because of the show, she got on there sooner. So she might not have been as knowledgeable as you thought she was, but just to defend her,
she was
not
great.
That she needs defending. She didn't really know as much as she thought, but which is the point of the show, to take it.
Right.
We got to take an Amish girl from the Amish land and put her in LA fashion show in the
this poor girl. I thought maybe, she would be able to work with the designer herself, thinking a collection, how to produce a collection, because people think in fashion, they kind of combined it. A show director is totally different from a designer and what a designer produces for the show. Those are two totally different paths. So most fashion students go to school as fashion designers, merchandisers, and whatnot. Production is a different animal. They don't actually necessarily teach it, right?
Right.
So we have this poor girl who gets set along.
She's got a whole crew with her who's and I'm freaking out trying to figure out what do we do, who was I'm blanking on the name of the guy who was running that fashion show, but he's the one who invited us to be there and it was helping us that day, and he's like, well, Rosy can help you.
Of course, because Rosy does it all. No, but listen, the experience was super cool. The only thing that I felt, and so for the audience to have a better understanding, is I'm very fast paced. I position people closest to me because I've already had scouted them out. I've already worked with them. They already know my flow. They already kind of know how to get things done. Now, why am I hired to do these things? It's because people know that there's always some sort of shit show that goes on a production on the back end. And they always know that there's a lot of pressure. And for me, I'm an improver. I work on the fly, on the spot. So I have a job, though, to handle. I'm passionate about what I do. If someone is going to hire me, my priority is that client. I have to do everything I can to make sure that that client is satisfied and fulfilled. Meanwhile, there's other things that are going on besides, the Kate situation where, okay, like we said, not as
this is a real fashion show. We were supposed to work with Cynthia Rowley's people who weren't showing up till the day of the show. But we were there, we had to shoot something. So we did invade your space and tried to stay out of the way. And we just kind of pushed Kate into the rest of the crowd and let you find her, and like you invited her to help assist you. Exactly. That was on you. We didn't ask you to do that. You offered that up, but we were like, oh, this is amazing. No, this is for our sake. And the reality show, that was real that was completely real because we were making that up as we went along. This wasn't like something we called you a couple days before and we're like, I need you to talk to Kate like this. People never understand, sometimes the reality shows are scripted. Our show is not. We put them in a situation like we're going to take her to LA and see how she reacts and see how she does. But everything else that happened is real.
Right.
So you saved my ass that day by playing along with us and then giving her something to do the next day until Cynthia's people actually did show up and she could work with them.
Right.
So yeah, sorry to interrupt, but I just want it's one of those things where people don't understand how these things come to be.
Right.
We had a plan and we're talking to Cynthia's people and we're supposed to meet someone who then when we landed was like, oh, I'm not going to be there till tomorrow.
So
and
imagine
we're sitting there.
For all of your audience, here's another way to slay it, okay? Because sometimes people don't understand, the miscommunication on how, it ended up. Imagine we throw you into a kitchen at a restaurant and all of a sudden you're the chef. And you're working as a sous chef and this sous chef, you're the sous chef and the chef is telling you all of the things that you need to do on the menu that assist the chef, and you have 1,500 people in the restaurant waiting. So you're just kind of like, how do you study the menu? You don't even know what's on the menu. So you're just like making the roast manga.
Right.
What? So that's kind of where creation was. And
Kate had no idea what she was walking into.
No. And I think though, so some of the adversity from that and and this is back to dreams and working hard towards your dreams. You can't get offended. You can't desensitize yourself in situations like this. Sometimes if you get put in the ring of fire and you feel the heat, you need to take that moment and embrace it and say, okay, is this really what I want to do? Or secondly, okay, this was just a taste of of something difficult. How do I now replan myself and make that comeback? I'm the type of person that has always lived off the comebacks. Like you mentioned before, people don't want to see you succeed in this industry and this and that and taking you out, but this is all you know. I have the same situation, just in a different field. I have a lot of people that have been envious. I've had a lot of people that, say, oh, well, your prices are too high. Well, I mean, your experience is what you get out of this. You don't have to tell me what to do or worry about something getting done. You give me a list of work and it's going to get executed, if not better than what you anticipated, just because of the experience that I've had. So you're not paying for a service that is just, okay, here's your hourly, hopefully you get it done, and then you're stressing. No, you're paying for hospitality, you're paying for quality, you're paying for organization. I mean, there's so many multiple attitudes that, I bring to the table that nobody can do it like I do, right? That's the thing about you being you and me being me, and each and every single one of us being who we are. We have to see our assets. So if working with Rosy Muto, you're going to be on the hot iron press, then okay, like this is what I can expect. Nothing to be downgraded, nothing to, have something bad to say. If I know working with Scott Sylvia, it's going to he's going to put me on the spot and ask me challenging questions, then those are moments that people get to embrace our authenticity. So they really get to see how you work and who you are. And I think the value of authenticity nowadays is more important than any dollar amount. So I always feel like people underestimate, the quality that you get. So like Gucci isn't cheap. So how do you expect something Gucci if you don't want to pay for it? So in this industry too, I think what has changed my vision, which we'll get to my now future dream, being that I was a celebrity stylist, I don't think we mentioned that. When I moved to LA.
We got to talk about it. Yep.
Yeah. I moved to LA when I was living in Cherry Hill. So from Cherry Hill, I was the merchandiser at Forever 21. Then I had a recruiter come and take me to do Armani exchange. Then when I got recruited to Armani to open up the flagship store, I was working graveyard shifts. I was working my restaurant job as the lead server, and I was training and doing taking the stuff to the bank, doing the schedule, of course, because they were like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, well, I was potty trained in these things, so no problem. Because at the time,
see, this is what I mean, the dynamo.
Yes, pregnant. So Fiona was pregnant. So I was just like, spend time at home with your husband. Like, I'll open the restaurant. Don't worry. So, and then I also was kind of homeless for a moment in time due to a fallout with a roommate, and it got a little weird. So for about a month and a half, I was just kind of floating around in my car working 3 jobs. So it also helped me, but you see, that pushed me, and I got to California. And how I got to California was with Armani. I asked for a promotion because they had me as a key holder. Just for people that don't know, a key holder is just somebody that can like open the store and close the store, really. But
somebody they trust,
yeah. And I was just like a phenomenal sales associate, and you can't deny any of my sales tactics. Like, I sell poop in a bag.
I mean, you're selling me right now on you and anybody listening.
So
if you don't hear the confidence that I hear, people, you're not alive. Because this woman is full of energy. I know, and that passion is evident. Before we get back to your career, I just want to finish up the Kate thing. Like, you did have that moment at the end where you had to give her like her credits, where I don't know if people were, when you saw yourself on the show, it went like you could have been the bad guy or you could have been the good guy and made Kate cry and then,
right.
But I don't think anything being there, I don't think you told her anything that wasn't honest. I think she just wasn't ready for the bluntness of that moment.
She was
It was a real moment, and it was a real thing, and she didn't know what she was doing. So she did fine, but you telling her what I heard encouragement, what you need to do if you want to keep going in this, and I didn't think she took it the right way. If we go back,
right.
But
yeah,
I don't know what your memory of that moment was, and then I want to get back to your fashion.
I got
life.
Some Facebook comments like I was so I only had a few that were upset.
Negatives.
Me. Just a few, but I can tell you I had probably hundreds of people writing to me that they wanted to work for me. Like hundreds. Like, God, I can learn from you. I want to work with you. I can learn from you. But then there was just a few that said, oh, you should take your own advice. And I'm like, I have. And trust me, I've gone through a lot myself to feel belittled and feel awful, but I never took anything personal because I had to remind myself, well, if I don't have these emotions and if I don't feel this certain way about myself, how am I ever going to better myself?
Right.
How do
Right.
you make, if we didn't have fear,
Diamonds are formed under pressure.
exactly. So
Diamonds are formed under pressure.
how do you overcome it? So us overcoming these adversities is what gives us the gratitude to keep going. Otherwise, we would all just be stale. So
Yeah.
sometimes you need that punch in the face to be like, whoa, how do you
Right.
defend yourself? How do you encourage yourself? How do you embrace yourself? How do you take this advice and turn it into something like if you're really passionate about it? Are you really passionate about it? Ask yourself, then take the hit, fall down and get back up. Sylvester Stallone, that's our guy.
All right. So, yeah. Well, I mean, come on. He's Mr. Italian. Come on. So you knew at like 19 that fashion was where you wanted to be. What drove you to being in fashion? Like, why did you? What made you make the turn from restaurateur? Your family got restaurants, still has restaurants, so you had it set up. You could have been taken over one of them, and did, I believe, for parts. So, like, what made you go, oh no, fashion is where I want to be? Like, that's right. You chased the dream to be in fashion. So what inspired you to do that, and what led you there? Like, where did you make that turn?
That's a great question, because people anticipate fashion as this, wow, it's such an amazing industry because of, fashion. It's what everybody sees, right? For me, it wasn't about being best dressed, like I'm in a hoodie with no makeup. Like, for me, fashion wasn't about what you see. For me, it was like, I knew that I was very unique growing up. So I was also in special resource classes, in an EOF program, which I never could understand. And then it was like, oh, Rosy's intelligence, was questioned. And as I started getting older, I was very angry with with this decision. And I was like, just because I'm unique and I stand out and I'm different and I don't want what everybody else has. So I expressed myself through, what I wore. And, there was phases where I was tomboyish. There was phases where I was fashionable. There was, I was always like 3 steps ahead when it came to, what I was feeling emotionally, which created trends. I mean, I think that I have a slight way of being a trendsetter and not necessarily following fashion, but taking it on as changing it, doing my own thing. So styling came from people always saying oh my God, this love this look, love this outfit, what should I wear? So then I was helping people. And then
did you dress your friends and stuff? Did you help your friends? Oh, you should wear this or wear that. Was that how you get started?
No, actually not even. It was what they saw of me, and then how I would dress my brothers and my dad and stuff, when there was a christening, communion, this and that. I was always picking it out for them, and men's is where I started, and I actually really loved dressing men. Okay. So my passion was started with guys, styling men. And again, most people are fashion, more for women, this and that. But for me, it was just I loved, ensembling outfits and stuff, especially in the men's sections. When I was a visual merchandiser manager, I loved doing the men's, I don't know. It's different. But for me, what I really got me into it was when I moved to California and I started merchandising and seeing people buying what I was putting on the mannequins. I was like, I have a niche. Nobody would ever tell me. Right. Nobody would say you're good at this. You can't expect credit
It
from
always looks better on the mannequin, though, than when I take it home and put it on me, I gotta say. You
well,
probably got me a couple times, and I was just like, oh, well, but yeah, and then I put it on and go, yeah, the mannequin
well,
looked better.
here's the thing. That all comes to that perception. So
Right.
what I learned was so there was a part of my retail career where I wanted to specialize. I killed it when it came to like the regular stuff, regular people. So I wanted to specialize in plus size. So I went ahead for the Max Mara group and applied to Marino Rinaldi, which specializes in plus size, where I ended up even working with Melissa McCarthy. Now,
Nice.
those women come in there already with the mentality that nothing's going to look right, nothing is going to fit right, right? So what you learn on how to work with people is changing their perception of themselves. Because honestly, anything could look great on you if you have the right idea of it. But how do you develop those ideas? This is what I teach. This is what I teach by whoever I'm working with. You have to explain in a way why this would work for that body type. So whether this comes half sleeve, a cup sleeve, that's somebody that has a brawler shoulder. Whether the sleeves come down to maybe not all the way to the elbow, because if the sleeve comes to the elbow, you're cutting yourself off, which can make you look a little bit more stubbier, and it's also going to take away from your lankiness. So you want to go for a 3/4 length sleeve for a larger woman because it's going to elongate their arm. So like there's all these little hints that you give people the idea. They look at themselves in the mirror and say, she's right. So now that shirt looks good on you. It didn't look good before because maybe the length of the dress was cutting you off at the knees. So when you look at yourself in the photo, you have no knees and then you look like you got these little stubs. So you got to go at least above the knee or quarter length. So you go below the knee, So there's just certain ways you can hide certain things, but you can't teach that. That's something you have to have an eye for. And that's back
That's
to
what I was going to say. Like, did you learn that just by experience, or did you didn't go to school for that, or did you just learn by doing and trying, right?
I learned by doing and trying. And I also, being in special education classes all my life, all of those students, they literally had Down syndrome, autism. I mean, Tina LaFay was on a respirator with a nurse. So they all looked at me like, she's perfect. What is she doing? So I would, roll up Tina's sleeves or, fix her up a little bit. That, some of the kids that were, and the smiles on these faces, or like Dean.
It makes them feel good about themselves.
Good. And then something like one of my classmates, he had, Down syndrome and stuff. So like, so helping him, talking to him, fixing the t-shirt, fixing, just little things like that. And then you can tell that he started kind of doing it himself and
standing up straighter.
Yeah. And you just kind of like, it's all about a feeling, there's no right or wrong. There's no, this is the trend. This is not, I mean, yeah, we can follow trends and color palettes and things like that are in season and off season. But at the end of the day, we see these runway things with what they have these looking like alligator feet shoes and like.
Yeah, clothes that you'd never wear. It's really more of an art. It's more of an art project than it is.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to wear that to the office and my 9-to-5 job and sit in my cubicle in a big, giant shoulders.
I took more a realistic approach with people and a quality for that. Like some women that wear bell bottoms that, are top heavy, not, no. But here's the thing. You have to be able to tell the truth to these people. And you have to have logic behind this truth. We have strayed so far away from the truth that now it's offensive. Instead, this is a sign of health. When you don't know what to wear and you just put something on and then you leave the house and your gut, I tell everybody, follow your intuition, your gut feeling. and you're out there saying like, why did I wear this? Well, damn right, you should have asked someone that would have told you the truth, because then you would have avoided the whole day of feeling insecure.
Right.
And that's the value that I like to bring to any event, any production, any client. And I think that's why
is that your thing? You want to instill confidence in the person you're dressing? Do you want to what is your like desire for your clients? Like, what do you want to achieve for them when you style somebody?
Well, what I have achieved is I still am in contact with anyone that I've styled, and the testimonies from them, because I can't say what I want. It's what they say about me is my ultimate goal, right? What people say about me is success to me. So what I read,
same in my industry. So people talk about you is how you get your next job. Yep.
Yeah. The feedback is the confidence that I instill. And I think that the next time that they go to look at themselves in the mirror and dress themselves, they're remembering all these little, tricks and hints and things that I've said. So when they dress themselves, they're like, look at my outfit now, look at this now, look at me now. Put that in my head. I remember this, I remember that. So for me, that's like my ultimate goal is, remember these things for the next time, so that this way you don't have to call me and pay me. You could just
Although you can, feel free to do it. I don't mind if you call me and pay me.
But
let me just give a list of some of the people that I see in one of those articles I pulled up about you that you work with. So you've styled people like 50 Cent, Miley Cyrus, Dr. Dre. Who are some of your other things? Let's brag a little bit about yourself. Who have you worked with? The people will be like,
Melissa McCarthy, Brooke Burke, Miley Cyrus. It's funny when I get asked this. It's like these things just don't come to my mind.
They go away. They zoom out of your head.
People are people. Like, I had the pleasure working with these people because the 50 Cent thing, for example. When I was called to do that show, it was for the movie cover, the movie poster. When he did the Gun movie with Val Kilmer. So,
yes.
There wasn't, much styling to it. So styling celebrities was probably the easiest accomplishment and goal, okay? Everyone gives you everything for free. So it's like, it wasn't hard, okay? My probably most favorable clients were the ones that were breaking into the career, okay? The ones that need the consulting, the beginners, okay? And that goes, I have a whole list of people that were like startups, if you will. That to me was way more of an accolade than working with Miley Cyrus at the Feed House, or to be honest with you, So, some, upcoming singers, Ellis DeFranco, Myra Veronica, who's very successful in the Latin world, one of my, most favorable clients too. Just wonderful to work with, instilling confidence. We went to Cannes Film Festival, things like that, So probably a lot of the image development, like, clients were probably my, most favorite. Oh, and Ludacris. Ludacris was probably like
yeah. And Ludacris. Let me just throw Ludacris in there. Yeah. No, wait. Let me just drop his name.
He was cool. He was so cool. His whole camp was cool. It was for a music video that they were doing on the yacht, and they came into the store at Armani on Sunset Plaza, and I was able to it was a great day. But
you just hooked them up. They were all in Armani in that video. If I was to look up that video.
Yeah, not
he was.
All. Yeah.
Okay.
We trust him, and then he bought wardrobe for just himself too. So it was like a $10,000 day. Yeah, it was great. But then like I said, all of the upcomers, like those were probably my Kathleen, Ellie. Like, I have so many more memories that come like this to me, working with them, than the celebrities, to be honest with you. Like Brooke Burke, I
Right.
remember that for Ladies Home Journal cover. I mean, it was like workout gear, but because I guess it was, Brooke Burke, it just, the production was like 16 hours, and it was just like a very long day of just,
Yeah.
so, but like
There's a
working
lot
with
of cooks in the kitchen, so to speak, when there's a celebrity on set. Oh yeah, and it takes so many people have to decide instead
craft
of
services, who can eat at this one, who can eat at that one. Like,
it's crazy.
I think I grabbed a grape from like
The
her
wrong table. Oh no.
And I'm like, do I need to put the grape back? Or can I, like, now that I have it in my hand, should I just eat it? and and I'm so not used to like that at all, you know? So I love being a creative director. I love being an image consultant. I love giving advice, motivation, instilling confidence. I think more of us, could use that, in our world. I want to start a collection, a motivational apparel collection. I just got the trademarks back from. So there's just like, I want to be, now, I don't want to say influencer because that word has totally changed.
Yeah. Well, you had a thing back when I last saw you. You were working on the G, like the G for genius, right? Are we still
genius? I'm making a comeback. See, it's all about the comeback.
Okay.
I'm making a comeback.
So, like, talk to me. Yes. What is your dream now? Like, you've been chasing this dream for how long have you been doing this now?
What? 2003 was really when it all started. Maria Hoffman.
Okay.
I volunteered for the Maria Hoffman shows at Bryant Park and at Lincoln Center before it was, and now Mercedes.
What it is now.
Yeah. I also would fly out to Milan. I was a fashion editor for the LA Fashion Magazine. I would cover some of the events out there. How I got to and met Giorgio Armani. If anyone I've ever been starstruck for in my, like, no one has starstruck me but Giorgio Armani.
How was it meeting Giorgio Armani? I mean, you were working for him, right? You were working for the store, and then you got to meet the guy who created the whole thing. How was that?
So we'll never forget the moment. And back then, cell phones weren't as cool as they are now. Not to sound like I'm some old fart, but it's kind of because if I could record that memory or had a selfie or something, obviously I would. But I think at the time I still had a flip phone. But so I got to do ask him a couple questions. I did a interview for the magazine. He grabbed my hand and put one hand on my shoulder and held my one hand, and he leaned in and he says, and I swear, people, like, seriously, and he says, keep doing what you're doing. Something about you is stardom. And don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't achieve what it is that's in here. Do it. You are stardom. He didn't answer any questions. He didn't do anything that I was assigned to. That was it. That was all he said. So I had to come back to LA and say, he told me I was going to be a star. And I'm like, you can't put that in the magazine because then I'm cocky or whatever. I'm conceited.
Right.
It's not conceited. It's just I'm confident. But he said that to me, and I was just like, I will never. And what I tell you, man, I will never. And that's all you need is like that one person. So if I can be that one person for anyone that I've ever encountered, or any student or anyone that's worked on a production with me, whether they hated me, whether they didn't, as long as they can remember me, I know I've had an impact in some way. But one thing, if anyone, had disliked me for my sternness or my hardness, I can guarantee you, never, ever, ever, not once had I ever had a bad intention or a negative intention towards anyone. It was
never malicious.
It was never malicious, never a takeaway, only to improve and succeed. And if I can tell you today, the amount of students that I had helped and oversee, what they're doing, taking my job because they'll do it for free. Where did they learn it from? I can guarantee it, but it's okay. That's my purpose, is to be of this service. And that's what I hope any of your listeners or anyone listening understand, that I do this out of good heart and good deed for positive impact.
That's perfect, because that's exactly where I'm at too, and what this idea of chasing the dream and talking about people chasing the dream is about. It's about, like, I know what Giorgio Armani saw, because I saw it when she walked down in the LA fashion show in that train station and walked out to the people. I was like, oh, that's someone to pay attention to right now. Put the camera on her for a second, because something's about to go down. So that's the thing that I noticed a couple of years ago when we worked together, that he noticed. I mean, and it's something that I think people should notice about you, is that drive and that passion for what you do. I mean, I was nothing but impressed by you. I mean, we became friends.
Yes.
This is years after the show. We literally became friends because you inspired me, and I was like, oh, that's a person I want to hang around with, because that person is going to go somewhere, and she's not going to let me fall behind. I'm going to get swept up in her breeze as she's flying by, and the backdraft is going to pull me along with her. Like this, you're someone who definitely like is driven, and it's one of my favorite things about you.
I appreciate it.
You're somebody who is super impressive. You're a super impressive human being, and I'm rooting for you all the time. I love always hearing about what you do, and I appreciate when you send me things to, like, what do you think of this? Like, that you look to me as someone for advice when I am like, what do I know? What do I know about fashion? But I just, but you send me stuff all the time, and I love it. I love it.
You got to be humble in today's world. And listen, anybody can give you advice, and anybody can help you, whether it's good or bad, or whether you think, oh, this person is derogatory towards me, or this person doesn't want to see me win. Okay, utilize that. Embrace that. This is how you got to carve it out,
Right.
and in order to do that, you got to kind of take the risk yourself and put yourself out there. There's so many people that would rather see me drown than see me make it. Like, of course, it's just, that's what, why things also took a standstill for me. I mean, I had a swim week, just like literally sweep my connections, like, and bye. And it was just like, okay, I mean, what are you going to do?
Right.
Put myself in that position, and they just, people take, and they will, and they're going to take you until you're so dried out that you quit. And then what? I can't be that person, because I'm going to exist in the world, because I know that I have a purpose, and there's a place for me, and there's a place for you, and there's a place for everybody. There's so much space for us to utilize each other and see us as assets, and say, I can benefit from that attitude. So, it's just being able to do things like this and speak out about ourselves. And one of my big dreams is, obviously We Hold the G is going to definitely be making a comeback. I think that motivational apparel line has legs to stand on, because it's not just wardrobe. There's a whole meaning behind when you're wearing the G, what you're representing. And I really, and
I'm wearing a shirt right now that says "Dream."
Yeah.
To inspire. I mean, this is not fancy or anything, but it's a simple thing. I put it big because I want you to dream, and I want people to dream and chase their dreams. Yeah. So, like, from when we met, I felt we were like running parallel to each other.
Wow. Well, that's why we're still in communication. We still contact each other. We'll have conversations if things are going down or spiraling out of control in our lives, And
right.
Sometimes, that happens. To be able to be willing and understanding, and being able to create a platform like this for people like myself to kind of express some of the emotion too, because it hasn't been an easy ride. This has been a complete shit show. I have sometimes my parents saying, when are you going to stop knocking your head on the door? Just get a restaurant, because it's something I know how to do, obviously. But it's
Sure.
like, no, I'm production. I'm creative director. I love to create and bring ideas to fruition and bring ideas to the table. I've been always unique and innovative since day one. And it's even written on paper from these school districts. Okay. So I even have proof that I'm a creative person, period. Am I capable? Was I, had a learning disability? I don't think so. I know that my reading skills are phenomenal. My speaking skills are phenomenal. I speak 2 languages fluently, read and write. So it's just like I have an advantage with, my upbringing because sometimes, I never had the silver platter given to me. So I had to work really hard. And I also have gone through plenty of adversity. I mean, I've had my high school sweetheart die. My dog got hit in front of me, right in front of my eyes. I've had car accident. I've seen friends fly out of the windshield, die. And then my own life experiences with relationships. And there was so much, adversity. Let's not say ran away from home, but kind of did because I had very strict, rules and Italian heritage that like, I was just not one to be stuck inside a box. So like I left, and traveled the world. I've been to British Columbia, Southeast Asia, across the Mekong River, went to Cambodia. I mean, you name it. So like I've lived an insane life and it's just getting started. So I
Yeah,
think
man.
onto this platform with no makeup and in a hoodie that I can be my authentic self. And hopefully people can see that passion and know that that's what value work ethics are. That's where it comes from. I can have all of the paper, MBA, bachelor degrees, anything. You can't get that from someone that's creative. You can't grade someone on creativity because it's a field.
Right.
And you have to only be
exactly
experience it in order to understand the quality. So for anyone out there that thinks I want to pay less, but this person graduated, but I can use them as an intern or this or that, you're only going to devalue your own company or your own. You need to look at people as an asset. And in order to take the risk, you got to give them the chance to prove to themselves, just like Forever 21 did. I had 0 experience in merchandising, but when they came upstairs, and I had all the girls ready to go to their cities, that spoke for itself.
Yeah. In 20 minutes, you had 20 stories and you knocked it out of the park.
Knocked it. Oh my God, this is the second time you said that. I won the Macy's Next Style Star. You have to pull it up. If you put it on,
okay.
I won that. And Jenny Mai, the host, said,
Rosy, you knocked it out of the park.
And it's funny, actually, Tyler, one of the guys from Central Casting, I'm sure you're familiar with Central Casting. I talked about producing a competition of a style show, and he wanted me to be the host. And I don't know whatever happened. I said, of course, I'm down. I would love to host or judge. I would love to do any of that, by the way. Like,
sure.
My critique, and I think I would qualify. But it ended up coming back to me as me being a contestant. So, and we don't know, conspiracy, right? But whatever. It was fun. I met great people. I loved being on the set. And I got to win my segment, which was 1 look 2 ways or something like that. It was cute. But it was the concept that I was like, wow, this is very familiar.
Right.
That's what it is. And, I hate when people say, don't share your ideas. Don't talk about what you want to do. Everybody says that, but it's like, shit, well, then what?
Right. I mean, it is, from my business too, it's like, I remember coming up as a young editor, the older editors didn't want to tell you anything. And they And I remembered that when I got the chance to be in the editor chair. Like, if someone asks me a question, even today, like, if someone wants to learn something from me, and if I can tell someone to do something which I think is the right way, I'll put air quotes, that I think is the right way, so that they'll do it the right way for their career, I'm happy to pass that on, because you're not me. Like, you can press the buttons and make the technical thing happen, but what I bring is a different sensitivity. I can't teach that, which is the creativity you're talking about, but I can teach you the technical stuff, and I'm happy to share that because, if you got to spend a room, for what we do, you got to sit in a room with someone for 10, 12 hours a day, or you got to be backstage at a fashion show with somebody for 16 hours a day. You got to be with a person who you feel comfortable with.
Right.
And someone who, which I understand, that's how people get hired too. But like nowadays, like even when I'm looking for a job, you can't tell what I can give you off of a resume. And if you never speak to me we're speaking now, like, how do you know my passion? How do you know? Anybody can have credits and they were on a show, but they could have been fired from that show. They could have been really bad at it.
I think
go ahead.
I agree with you 1,000%. I think they should just do digital resumes, like you submit you talking.
I think that is a thing that is definitely catching on, like TikTok kind of resumes.
If I had the opportunity to pick and choose students that come on a production or come on a show with me, and they sent me like, a model casting, for example. In order to cast the models, they have to come to the casting so I can see them in person, see how they
look at them. Yeah.
Because anybody could say that they're 5'9", but then they just put on 6-inch platforms. So it's different when you see in person, right? So for what you're saying, like, I apply to, you know what it could be though? And I think that I have the similar experience, but just, in a different industry. I think it's they think that like you're not moldable, right? Maybe they look at your experience, because I have so much experience. So maybe they look at me like, oh, well, she's not moldable. But they don't realize.
She's not flexible. Yeah.
It's not that I'm not moldable. I will say, with all my experience, I'm a camouflage. Like, I can camouflage to your skin color. So if you need me to be green, I could be green. If you need me to be blue, I could be blue. So as long as I have your goals, your intentions, what it is that you're looking for, I can achieve that for you, no problem. But there's that miscommunication.
Yeah. They think you're gonna want to do it your way and get away from their way.
But I think
I get a lot of that in what I do as well, because they go, well, this guy's got a lot of experience, but he might not want to work for this rate, or he might, he's been a producer and now I have to have him as an editor. He's going to try to produce the show. And it's like, no. I want to edit when I want to edit, and I want to produce when I want to produce. I don't want to. Sometimes I do both or all of the things I do at the same time when a show allows for it, or when it's required. But I want to be in the role that I'm hired. Right. And I think that's what you're saying. Like, if you're hiring me to do this, I want to help you. Yeah.
But if you're applying for that, there's a reason that you're applying to that particular, not to have them judge you. You're an executive. You're applying for that particular position. So use an advantage and say, well, he has experience. Let's see. Because another thing that I get misled by, or people misjudge me on, is, if I'm going to say, okay, this is the process, this is awesome, blah, 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 we're going to do it. But hey, can I make a suggestion? Like, don't hold that against me as like, I want to take over. Just look at that as like, she wants to actually help me get better.
And that's what your job is.
All I've ever tried to do with any merchandising, productions, styling, websites, everything, just to give you an extra quality. That's it.
Right. Which is it. What we're doing right now. I'm trying to give you a little extra lift and attention so people see how awesome you are. But that's the thing. When you're in a team sport like that, I mean, fashion is a team sport, production, TV, film productions, it's a team sport. Now, one person can't do it. I mean,
No.
one person can do it, but it's definitely better when you can collaborate with others and take their ideas in. When I run a set, it's the same thing. I never say like, this is the way it's going to be, but if someone has a question that they want to have asked when I'm doing an interview, I'm happy to let, a cameraman, an audio guy, a PA, someone who's like, hey, I want something I want to know. I'll ask the question because, my voice might have to be on tape or whatever, but I'm happy to let somebody chime in, or a camera guy who has an idea for a shot in a scene. Yeah, please. Well, let's make this better. We all want to make a great whatever it is. You want to have a great fashion show. You want to make a great window display in a store. I want to make a great TV show. I don't have all the best ideas. I never claim to. I don't think you're a person who does that either. This is something you just want to be useful. And like at the end of the day, when we go home, I want to feel good about the effort I put into it. And I can say, yeah, we did the best we could. And hey, we pulled it off. Amazing.
I mean,
which I think and you're what you do. It's like, it's a little more intense, like backstage, like we were at LA Fashion Week that time. Like, it's way more intense. This is happening right now. You don't have really a lot of time to mess things up. Yeah.
So many flaws come to,
somebody's shoe breaks. They're supposed to walk down. I think somebody didn't have the right shoes that show. And they had to like switch things at the moment. Like, you take her shoes off, but that's somebody comes back and has to give someone else their shoes and get back on there, right?
About what I do is the pressure. Like, I actually am a sicko. I like when there's challenges. I thrive off of challenges. I try to challenge myself every day. And I think we all do. Just getting up and trying to be positive is a challenge in itself, So physical challenges, mental challenges, we should challenge ourselves every day. And I always strive for that. But I also know, speaking on what we're talking about, it's like, I know the behind the scenes, what all of I still read encyclopedias. I still read random, stuff, miscellaneous stuff. The way I educate myself, I don't go to school. I never went to college. I was discouraged from all of that, being mislabeled, I would call it. So, I taught everything that I know to myself. I am a self-made entrepreneur, self-taught. However, I know the value and the standards that I set, and I can only see someone utilizing that. If I'm putting myself out there, use me, pay me, but use me.
Yeah. I'm not going to do it for free anymore. After you got enough experience, you shouldn't be giving it away at this point.
Just know that without you having to give me the material or having the knowledge in my product, I'm already doing it. I already know more about you than you probably know about yourself. Like, that's what it comes down to when I get booked or do a job. I go above and beyond. And it's because my ultimate goal and my success factor is what people say about me.
Right.
And that's what it comes down to.
If you're not inspired just by listening to Rosy, you're sleeping, or you're no longer of this earth. So talk about what you're doing right now, and I cut you off the other day when I invited you on here. You wanted to tell me what your big dream is now. So I want to get to that. I don't think you told me yet. I think, so talk about your company, talk about how people can contact you. What can you do for them? What can you offer them? Sell yourself. This is that pitch. You talked about the video resume right now. This is your pitch this is your audio and video pitch for like, why do I want to work with Rosy?
Right. Okay. So, working with me, it's not just a fashion entity or fashion industry. Working with me, it's creative ideas. It's building and structuring, almost like a consultant for your business image, whatever the case may be, product. We can help bring it to fruition. So that's what I turned this into. So before it was all the merchandising, but then it was the production. But now where I find most passion is in helping people gain momentum, and hopefully that they keep going. Otherwise, I'll have to ask for equity, but gain momentum in their businesses. So that startup factor is what, I thrive for, whether it's website design or development now, whether it's product placement, product shots, whether it's PR, whether it's production, all these certain components on helping to start a business are the things that we are now sharing as a creative agency, if you will, which you can find. It's on jrprosllc.com. Now, it used to be just Rosy Styling, but why I changed the name is, I think, clever or important, because I've had people say to me, this is me being selfless. Because when people say, oh, I work for just Rosy, I felt almost like selfish about it. So I changed it to JR, like Junior Pros LLC, because a lot of the people that do come and work or I take on are students. There are going to be people that I'm training, people that are up and coming, people that are still starting off. But because they're under my umbrella, I call them the Junior Pros, because they know what it entails to work with me, being that I am cutthroat, let's just say, and I run a tight ship, which is another thing that you get, you don't find that. And it's not like a tight ship where I'm some mean CEO or whatnot. It just means like we're working together as a team. I have tons of trophies behind me as a captain of, soccer teams, dance teams, and whatnot. I'm a team player. So for me, it's not the boss. For me, it's a leader that takes the risk and the position of getting in trouble from the client, keeping you guys away from that risk. That's all it is, basically. I'm just the face of it so that when there is a problem, they come to me and not to you. And then you guys are there to help me fix this problem. So that's how I play when I'm, that's what it is for me as a leader or a boss or whatever it is. Okay. And you go to jrprosllc.com. We're doing the websites, we're doing the productions. Ultimately, I want to have Me Hold the G make its comeback, which is a motivational apparel line, G for genius, following your gut intuition. I always tell everybody it's what you feel in your gut. Usually that's the first thing, and it's going to be the right thing. And that continues on. I love doing motivational speaking engagements. I have done quite a few already at Fullerton University, FITM, FIT, Lynn University, Arts Institute in Miami-Dade. So I have done quite a few, all voluntarily, but I would love to make that into something. Motivational speaking and encouraging others is something I thrive on. And then lastly, I would like to just start my own fashion week. And I think that would be badass, and integrate a lot of innovation involved. There's a lot of new things that we can do, being that I'm familiar now with blockchain technology, AI, and outsourcing. I have a lot of connections outside of, the US. I think the ultimate goal is, instead of doing the success factor for these productions, I'm kind of now like, why don't I just do my own? If I could do it for everyone, why not for me? So we'll have you there filming. So
Oh,
yeah,
you heard it, everybody. If she hires anybody else, get on her. Well, I think, it's so interesting. I said earlier we were running parallel to each other. I feel like I'm exactly the point you are too, because it's like after all these years of helping people make shows and successfully put out whatever it is, films, documentaries, TV shows, start from little startup production companies to huge, ABCs and CBSs and the Disneys of the world and the Sonys of the world. But now it's like, well, why can't I do it?
Right. I mean,
I can do it. I've got my ideas. Yeah. I've got all the same ideas. I just don't have
a TV show of some sort.
Well, I mean, I think this should be a TV show, like what we're doing now and following you at JR Pros and having a video component, like a day in the life of Rosy, like what's it like to be Rosy, and let people see what your day is, and what you go through, what a typical day is. So your ultimate goal right now, your biggest dream that you're chasing, is to have your own fashion week that your company
produces
and starts up. If people want to call you now and they like that idea, where should they reach you? Go to your website, follow you on Instagram, follow you on...
You can follow me on Instagram, JR Pros LLC. You can email me, contact me at jrprosllc.com or contact@jrprosllc.com. I have both.com or Rosy at jrprosllc.com. You can contact Scott Sylvia. He'll put you.
That's right. I will let you know how to reach Rosy, because I'm never going to forget her.
You can put TV. You can reach Scott.
Yeah. So,
by the way, I got an approach to do stuff, but I told you I'm not one to be in front of the camera, like doing, when you put the mic on me, remember I was like, oh God, here we go.
Yeah, but the camera loves you. You're fine. You are, if you can get up in front of a room and speak in front of people and speak at a college in front of a bunch of people and motivate them, have a microphone on.
Real quick, because I know we're trying to wrap this up, but last thing, when I moved to Pennsylvania, or to Cherry Hill, I took a public speaking class. I paid for it, just one public speaking class in a community college to break the ice. That's where I think, to break the ice.
That's where it started.
Used it for, I used college for the things that I needed to benefit. I didn't do college or anything like that. Again, I wasn't eligible. Technically, I wasn't eligible to go to a 4-year school. I wasn't allowed. And another thing about ultimate dream goals and stuff, I would love to have my own, let's say, app of some sort. My own app.
And what would the app do? What would the app be offering me? Well, you got to tell me what it is. Sell me on it.
See, I don't want to talk too much about it because I already have a prototype. I'm just waiting for...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. We don't have to talk about it, but you dropped the thing. That's like an ultimate tease. Well, if you want to find out about Rosy's app, go to her website.
Come to life, and I just don't want any bad voodoo, but I'm putting it out there also, right? That's the thing. It's such a twisted, two-edged sword. They say don't talk about it, but in order to manifest it, you have to talk about it. So it's like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, I've had similar things too, where like you tell people ideas, and this is what has me gun shy and probably is holding me back in myself right now, because it's been done to me where you've got ideas and you tell someone about it, and they're in a position where they can get it executed, and you're just telling them, hoping they'll help you.
Let me see.
And instead of helping you, they take the idea. Yeah. They take the idea, and then you're sitting in your bed watching the network that you both work for, and then up comes the thing you had a discussion about in the room, like verbatim, even the shot styles, even the whole setting, and you're just like, you know what? I'm never telling anyone anything ever.
Well,
because if I do, they're going to steal it.
No one can do it better than you can.
Well, that's very nice.
No one can do it better than you, because it's
well, they can't do it the way I do it. They can. I'm not going to say someone probably could do it better than me, but they're not going to do it the way I do it, or give the like you, much like yourself, give the emotion and the passion about it. Like when I get hired for a show, it immediately becomes we. I immediately switch into the word. The words are we. Oh, well, we could do this and we could do that. I'm not even hired yet. This is in like job interviews. So I'm saying like we. I mean, I grew up playing team sports, so being part of the team, I'm happy to sit in my role. If you want me to play first base, I'll play first base. You want to play left field, I'll play left field. You want me to edit? I'll edit, produce, whatever.
Same.
I'll do whatever that role is. I just want it to be good.
Yeah.
And I want us to be proud. And like, that's what I've recognized about you and other people I want to talk to on this podcast. You know, hopefully we can do the video side of this, like a real documentary style day in the life, week in the life with you. If someone wants to see that, send some funding my way. We'll make this happen. Because Rosy, if you're not excited to talk to Rosy or learn more about Rosy after listening to us babble on for like the last hour and a half, yeah, we went over what I thought we were going to, but my gosh, no one can stop this snowball once she starts rolling down the hill. Rosy is a force to be reckoned with, and I'm grateful to have you as a friend. And I'm happy that you took the time out of your day, because I know you got stuff to do today, to talk to me. And I'm looking forward to the next opportunity where we could be physically in the same space and working together. And maybe since we're both in the same point in our careers, maybe we can figure out how we can work together.
Yeah, definitely.
In a sense, you're doing this today. I want to help others who are doing great things or about to do great things. And that's the point of talking to you today. So maybe we'll keep this going.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me, and thank you for having me, and thank you for all the comments, and just infinite gratitude for you. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, it all comes from the heart. I mean every word. I'm not just blowing smoke. You are the shit, lady, and people should know about it. You are the shit. People should hire you, work with you. They will get very satisfactory results. I can guarantee. That's a Scott Silva guarantee right now. You work with Rosy, you're gonna be happy. I saw her in action. She's the real deal, people.
Thank you.
Go. I'll put all the information down below in links so people can get to you and find you. And I'm just glad you took time out to talk to me.
And I'm glad that you requested to talk to me and that we had this conversation and we get to really express ourselves. You know, this is a platform where you can just kind of be open about it and, talk about some of the emotion. And we all have it.
Yeah. We've all been through it, and we're all still dreaming, and we're all still trying. So for anybody listening out there, I got to let Rosy go. Keep chasing your dreams. Rosy is an inspiration. Follow her on all the social platforms. Go to her website, email her, and hire this lady. She's a dynamo. You're gonna be happy you did. That's all I can say about that.
Thank you. Thank you.